asking me, is it going to be on Facebook Live as well?
This is Facebook Live. We are live right now. All right. Hello and welcome to yet another exciting episode of Roads Untraveled by Ink That Matters. This is Shri Nishan. And for the guest for the evening is Miss Pia Prakash Pavani. She needs no introduction. She's an international model and actress, and she's also a social media influencer. That's actually a deadly combo. So, welcome, Pia.
Thank
Welcome
you.
to
Thank
the
you
show.
so much.
So, and thank you so much for having accepted the invite. Really feels honored for you to have joined us from Oman, all the way from Oman, having taken the time out for us. Really, it's a pleasure having you on the show.
It's my pleasure to be on board. It's my pleasure to, support and connect with all you people back home. So I'm happy. I'm excited and thank you for inviting me.
Great. So, you started off your career as a financial analyst. Heard. So, is that right? You were a financial analyst prior to all these things. So, how was the journey from financial analyst to modeling career? What actually attracted you to get into modeling? Because you had a career in place. So, what actually attracted you to modeling?
See, it gave being a financial analyst, it was more of me making use of my degree. Pretty much that was it. Maybe also because my family has a lot of art background. My aunt, my grandmom, they all have an art background, and I've grown up being a part of music industry or dance or fashion was definitely never a part of it because being a South Indian, fashion industry was pretty much some not something people would focus more on. It was always to do with learning music, learning new instruments, and classical dancing. Bharatanatyam. So it was always to do with that. But again, like they say, art has no language or no barriers. And same, for me, I couldn't differentiate uh, dance separate from music or music separate from modeling. For me, everything was art. And I pretty much wanted to do even photo shoots or modeling on those lines, very artistic, very something that has a message, something that's very different, something that's raw, something that's just out in the open. So being a financial analyst was great. I was getting a good, monthly salary and I was very happy. So I realized there was something missing, and I was manipulating numbers, which was great, but I think what I had in me was more of manipulating people, like more into marketing, more into uh, using that platform to sort of send out messages, which I wasn't able to do being a financial analyst. And I said, you know what, this is not helping me. What am I doing? Just going to work and reporting to my boss, and that's about it. It was becoming so monotonous. And luckily, because in college I had taken part in a lot of such activities, I used to still keep getting calls to like volunteer for exhibitions or for events as a hostess. So I would do that over weekends. And that sort of helped me because I was playing so many different roles. And to be very honest, I was very pleased and I would always go back home feeling content. So that was awakening call, and I thought, maybe this is where my interest lies, and I'm just doing something else, and I'm so unhappy. And once I moved to Oman, and that way I'm very committed and loyal, so I didn't quit work or anything. When I moved to Oman, obviously I had not taken up a job then. I wasn't even looking for one. Just wanted to relax, take a break, and this was just something that came right in front, and I said, oh my god, this has just gone back and come to me again. So this is the best time to take it and learn more about it. And now that I anyway love it, I might as well learn, and explore more. So that's how it started.
That's nice. So you actually wanted to have your, there was no, the life was monotonous in your previous job, you said. So, and this, had a kind of, what do you call it? A thrill, or probably that was your passion that you followed. So, what does it take to, follow your dreams or your passion? What is that drives you?
See, I'm very spiritual that way. I go with what I feel, my intuitions. Everything has to do with what I feel. A lot of times people tell me, why are you doing this? But I'm sorry, that's none of your business. It has something to do with me. I can feel it. Sometimes you get a feeling that this is what I want to do, and I have a feeling it's going to be great. It's going to come out great. Even in a lot of projects now, the minute my heart, like, this is how I say it, when my heartbeat goes all up, like I have palpitations and I can feel it, and in a good way, I'm thrilled, I'm excited to wake up early and do it. I know that project is going to be something great, and it's going to add value, and it's going to be something worth it, and most of the times I feel it. And I just go with my gut. And usually it's always my gut. Sometimes, yes, I do sort of, I don't know, I do make wrong calls, but I don't think that has anything to do with my work. You know what I mean? Maybe at that point, it's just a bad day. Things didn't come together. But I wouldn't say it was a bad project. It's just a bad day. But for me, everything is to do with how I feel about a certain concept or a certain project.
Right. That's nice. All right. So you are the the proud title holder of the LAFM worldwide winner. You were the winner for the year 2019. So how did that happen? Were you in Oman that time, or were you in India? How did that actually happen? And tell us that experience, because you were a winner that time.
I was actually in Oman because I had done one more pageant before that in 2018. So through that, I was recommended for this one. So this was supposed to be an international one, and it happened in Goa. So I was asked to be a part of it, and I said, this is good, because in 3 years, if I can finish all 3 pageants, that would be great. Then I can focus on what now I want to do with these titles, So I'd done the India one. I had represented Indians in Oman, back in India. So that was Mrs. India. Then came the LAFM, and I said, okay, that's one step higher. And the third one, obviously, I wanted to, go a little bit better than, not better, like a little higher than, LAFM as well. So I was in Oman, and I was contacted, and they shared the entire details with me. They shared the itinerary as well, the whole schedule, how it's going to be. And I was a little bit more confident this time, and because of the previous training as well. And I said, okay, the title sounds great. Then the whole, the way they curated the whole platform sounds great. And so I took it up, and it was nice because this was something I actually, again, every pageant journey is hectic. The whole schedule of once you check in and the 7 days or 6 days, everything is really, really hectic, because you've got a lot of training sessions. And for some reason, I'm in Goa, I'm just relaxing, and then every time we would finish the session, I would go back to my room, sit there. But I think I was much more calm this time, a little relaxed. I didn't let my nervousness take over somewhere, and I would keep a very calm head, and I was very, very focused. So I obviously was shocked, because I thought I would be in top 3. Definitely, I wanted to be in top 3. I'm not going to go back, without winning anything, especially because I'd won something beforehand.
Right.
But I was so shocked because they didn't call my name when they announced second runner-up. So I freaked out. They didn't call my name when they announced first runner-up either. Again, I freaked out. I said, that's it, I've lost it. This is so bad, I cannot lose this. Yeah, I thought I'd put in so much work.
You've come all the way from Oman for this.
Yeah, not just that, like a lot of people are expecting, and they, how an entire group is waiting to see what you're going to do and how you're going to perform. And then another set waiting to put you down, say, hey, you didn't win anything. You went all the way there, So I had so much pressure, but when the winner name was announced, all I could remember was my surname and my contestant number. And I said, oh God, is this me? I swear, I think I bursted out crying on stage. It was so bad. And there was an entire video of me literally crying. But that was beautiful. It was so nice. And I'm happy at least I was able to make it.
That's really, very touching story, actually.
No, it
You know,
was,
they.
that pressure when you go through it, especially finale, and every day, you've gone for your session, you've answered the questions, you've done the whole competition, whatever rounds we had. We had like a pre-judge session as
Pia,
well.
sorry to interrupt. Your screen is actually frozen.
Okay, is it better now?
No, I'm able to hear you. That's not the issue, but your screen is actually frozen.
1 second.
The audio is not the issue.
1 second. Can you see me now?
I can see you, I can hear you, but the screen is just frozen. It is still.
But
There's no movement in the screen.
yes.
But you can continue, I guess. Probably it will get better with time. So you can just continue.
Let me try just canceling this 1 sec and come back.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll just go on and then we can see.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, I was saying that every day, you've put in so much work, and that you've made it. Now that you're noticed amongst all the other finalists. So the main day is the day where you're going to see whether I stand out, whether it's not just again about your appearance or your performance throughout the journey. It's on that day when you have your introduction, your Q&A round is what is going to get you that title and the crown. So I was freaking out only because of the fact that I don't know what questions are going to be thrown at me, and how am I going to be able to answer within that few seconds and make a mark, or sort of win. So that was the only scary part, but otherwise, yes, I was very, very thrilled and excited, and I wanted to get something out, so it's good.
That's nice. That's nice. Pia, are you able to hear me?
Yes, I'm able to hear you.
Yes. Are you able to see me?
Yes.
Because for me, both the screens are actually frozen. My screen as well as your screen. So are you able to see movement in my
I
screen?
can see you move. Yeah, I can see movement in your screen.
Then probably there's something wrong with my screen. Just let me check. Just 1 second.
Sure.
Because my screen, the entire thing is frozen.
Okay.
Pia, you there?
Yeah.
All right. I don't know. The screen just froze for me, and actually your screen also froze, and mine also. So I had to do
I
some.
think network issue. Yeah. Some
Yeah,
network issue.
network. There's actually no network issue. I have a Wi-Fi here. I don't know. For some reason, it just froze, so I had to redo the whole thing now. But that's okay. That's okay. So we'll continue. So we were talking about your beauty pageant that you won in Goa. You were telling us about that. You were sharing the experience about that.
Yeah, so I was saying it was good. It was not. It was emotional because obviously, I had a bigger pressure this time and a bigger responsibility. So obviously, I was pretty nervous, but overall, it turned out good.
All right. So we have the audience, Deepika Janiani. So she says she was eagerly waiting to hear you. And she says, Pia ma'am, you look lovely. And yeah, so that's what she
Thank
says.
you. Thank you, Deepika. Yeah, she's been quite excited even on Facebook. She was pretty excited, and I'm glad she could join.
All right. So she's actually sent a lot of messages to you. She's one true fan, I guess.
So sweet. Yeah. Sweet.
All right.
I love when people take out time and sit there and eager in new area. It's so sweet.
That's actually a very different kind of a feeling that there's more than winning anything, more than achieving anything. When people love you for what you do, that's the best feeling
Not
in the
just
whole
that,
world.
I'm under a belief that time is money, time is precious for everybody. So if they are going to put aside everything and sit here just to see or say what, hear what I have to say, that's very, very sweet. So I'm grateful. Thank you.
Okay, so that was actually a wonderful journey that you shared with us, with the audience as well, because I wanted to know personally too as to how was that you traveled all along from Oman to India and then participate and then you won too. So that's actually a very big deal for anybody, to have your emotions in control, come all the way, perform and then win also. It's not a small thing that anybody could do. So kudos to you for that.
And again, I keep saying this not for any other reason, but India is, of course, home. I belong to India, but I have never lived in India, so I don't have family there or anybody around during this time for me to just call and say, hey, I'm breaking down, hey, I'm nervous. So I had to only connect to my parents in Dubai or my family here in Oman, and I would try to get that gap and look at the time difference and talk to them. By then, they call me, I am tired, there's nothing I can speak to them, so there was so much of emotional pressure as well that I couldn't connect to anybody to talk to, no friends around to support locally in India, so I felt like I was just thrown in an alien country and a completely different atmosphere. And it wasn't just me, there were other participants too. So that's how we started coming together. We would sit down and share things, so it's like a boot camp. So it's a beautiful temporary family for that time being. We share everything, we eat together, we're training together. So yeah.
So actually that must have been very tough for you, but then seeing the other contestants, then you would have got motivated. Yeah, to be here to perform, because that's not even if I'm going to travel from somewhere even within India, I'm going to leave my home and go somewhere else to another city. I know how tough it is. Traveling to altogether to another country definitely requires a lot of efforts, guts, whatever you can call that as.
You're scared as well. Everything.
Right. That is actually what attracted me, when I had to call you for this show, when I was, doing a research on you or when I was reading about you, that is one thing which attracted me, that you traveled all the way from, another country, you came to a country, though you are an Indian, you don't have anybody here. So, the way you followed your passion, that is what is actually has taken me to invite you for the show.
Thank
I
you.
like people who follow their passion, their dreams with such dedication and with such determination.
Yeah,
It's
thank you.
definitely a good thing, and it's actually a need for the hour. Actually. All right. Okay. So, now, what I wanted to know is a lot of people they talk about women empowerment in any stage, any place, any way that you go. Whenever there's a discussion or whenever there is, be it men, women, whoever they are, that's become like a fashion word. Like people talk about women empowerment all way long in any kind of discussion. You can find that. So, what according to you is women empowerment? What actually you feel that women empowerment is all about, according to your understanding?
See, I completely agree with you. This particular term has become a fashion now. It's become a trend.
Right.
Um, I see. We are all empowered, all of us. Okay.
Right.
Only thing we lacked was a platform,
Hmm.
a voice, a stage to say what we want to say. And I clearly remember, because I grew up with my grandparents, so I clearly remember times when a man would tell his wife, "Don't laugh too loud, don't speak too loud, don't raise your voice." But he can, she couldn't. She
Yes.
couldn't put
Yes.
her opinion out. And this was what I would keep seeing, and I would keep observing, and I would keep asking my dad this. I'm like,
Hmm.
why can't I laugh loud? What is the problem? That attracts attention. If you laugh loud, you come across as over friendly. You come across as very, like craving for attention, desperate for attention. But no, we are all different personality altogether, you know. And we never used such fancy words when we grew up. We never spoke
Right.
about, I'm sorry, but I don't mean any disrespect to anyone here, but we never spoke about bullying. It was just one person who did not like you and would pass rude comments at you. But the minute
Right.
this whole bullying tag came into picture, then everybody started playing the victim card, right? Like,
Right.
I was
Right.
bullied, okay? I wouldn't call it bullying. Yes, there were people who hated me in school, would
Right.
pass dirty comments or rude comments. But I was told that it's only because they are insecure about you, they cannot be like you. That's why they're passing these comments. So that actually made me stronger. I said, okay, she's insecure. That's why she's saying all these things. And I actually was more confident then. But the minute bullying came in picture, I started playing the victim card. Oh my God, she's bullying me. Oh my God, I
Right.
feel so bad. Why would they do this? So what has happened is, the minute everybody started talking about women empowerment, then all of a sudden everything people are doing, what you're doing to me, or when I'm talking to you, when you connect with me, it looks like, wow, Shireen is doing a great job connecting women. Yes, of course, we are all trying to help, and it doesn't have to be just on
Right.
social media.
Right.
I know a lot of my mentors who have taken extra effort to not do anything on social media, but personally call me and say, whenever, whatever you need, we're here for you. That's what I call a support. You don't necessarily have to have everything on social media to show and say, hey, women empowerment. No need. Call up each other and ask, what do you want? And this is another thing I often get, when somebody tags me, and suppose, say, I don't react to it, or I don't repost it, or I don't comment on it, I'm considered as somebody who's not supporting,
Right.
just because I've not seen it on social media. But do you
That
know that
that
I've
has also
actually.
become a fashion now.
Exactly. But do they know
People
that
who
I've
don't
actually
comment are
called?
also bullied.
Yeah. Maybe I'm busy doing something else, but I've seen your message.
Yes.
I've personally called you and spoken to you for 2 hours. That no one's going to see, because obviously I'm not going to put a call record or take a screenshot that I've called this person and spoken. You know what I mean? But I personally, for me, yes, I love everyone who supports everyone, and I'm totally up for it. I have had calls at 3 in the morning saying, please, can you come and help me? And I've done that. But to make it a big deal is just not necessary, and I'm not for it.
That's actually a very different answer that you've given me. Being in modeling industry, being an actress, somebody who says, keep it real and not just for for the platforms to discuss or something. People actually these days don't agree to that. They
No.
believe in, discussing those things than actually performing or than actually going ahead and, giving a helping hand. So this is actually a different answer that I've heard in a long time.
Thanks. But look, I come from a generation where we call each other to say, happy birthday. But
Right.
now, from wishing on social media, it has come down to
Social media. Right.
HBD. And I keep thinking, what is HBD? Like, you are
Right, right.
so busy to even write happy birthday, you know? So for me, these things really matter. Call me old school, no problem. But for me, these things are values. These things show how much I matter to you or you matter to me.
Right.
So I don't want to do this thing just on social media for for what few likes and few comments. No, I'm sorry, I don't need to do that.
Social media these days has actually become a different, entire, different world. The actual person actually behaves differently on social media, and in reality is somebody else. He lives
I
actually
agree.
two lives.
I totally agree. Look, I like to use social media to connect with people or to share with them my journey, to push people saying, hey, I know this mentor. Why don't you contact them? They're coming up with another pageant. You should do it. I'd like to use that to connect people, to network. Or, of course, now because of the whole marketing aspect of it, if they want me to promote a product or create an awareness of something new in the market, I'd like to use it for that purpose, not for anything that's going to give you a different picture of the world. No, keep it real, keep it simple. Just
Even the best of friends these days, they wish you on social media rather than call you or message you or
family.
come see you. They
Yes,
wish
and
Mother's Day on social media. The mother is not going to see that. Only the other people, the friends are going to see that. And mother
totally.
who's there in the house, they wouldn't go and wish her personally, but they would put that on the social media, wishing their mother happy Mother's Day and things. I keep wondering when I see all those posts as to what would be the mindset of that person, when they do that. So are they
Totally.
all
See,
doing
again,
this for? Yeah,
sorry. No, see, these
yeah,
are
yeah,
these
no,
are
no,
other things that I don't believe in. I don't believe in wishing Mother's Day. I'm sorry,
right,
I'll call my mom today and I'll be like, Mama, I love you. You've been the bestest
right,
thing for me. I don't need just one particular day. Of course, I mean there are a lot of history behind certain days and all these,
yeah,
and I am not dissing all that. I am not going to make fun of all of those things. But personally, I'm not going to take only Father's Day to call my father and say thanks for supporting me. Thanks for being that pillar in my life. Thanks for doing this for me. Because we've always been that expressive in our family. Every day is daughter's day. My father till date um, makes sure the entire month of my birthday is celebrated. He will call me from 10 days before
wow,
and 10
that's
days
so
after.
sweet.
Every day he'll wish me. He'll say, your birthday is coming, happy birthday. Every single day.
That's so
And
sweet.
very sweet. And we've always been that closely connected. So my mom,
Right.
till date, my mom never feels bad if I don't wish her on Mother's Day, because she knows that we have the respect and the love and everything in our heart. And I'm not saying again those who wish are bad people or no, not that.
Yeah.
For me, no, I like to keep these things between my mom and me, between my family and me. I don't want
Right.
to go out and
People
about.
actually these days they are more, worried about their image on the social media rather than their image in the, the real life. Actually, that's what I think when I see these kind of posts. I actually wonder how they are, outside social media. So I thought you being in the limelight all the time. So how would you feel about, such a situation? That's the reason
See,
I
no,
asked.
that pressure even I had. I am still very particular about what I put on social media, even when it's my photo shoot, because I don't want it coming across as something demeaning or hurting someone. But that's why I always say this is work. This is just a body of work. This does not define me as a person. Just because you see me um, wearing some a particular dress
Right.
and shooting, that
Yeah.
doesn't define me or my personality. It is just work
Exactly.
that I'm doing, and I'm showing you that I could also look like this, or I can
Yes.
also portray this character. So even now, I am very, at one point, I let social media control me. Even I was very particular about these things, putting this one out, wishing this one, a lot of such stuff. But now I control social media. I decide whether I want to use Facebook today,
Right.
whether I want to use Instagram today, whether I want to post something today. How many hours I want to spend on social media. So I have kept that. So now I learned how to control it. So maybe that's one of the reasons I'm happy, and I don't care what's happening around. I don't pay much attention to these things.
Right.
Who's done what, who's gone where, who's eating what, who's in which restaurant, who's wearing what. None of those things bother me anymore.
That's the way for a peaceful life, actually. Just
Yeah,
do your
totally agree.
job, get done with it. No more
We are enough
gossiping.
pressure, we love stress. Yeah, last thing we need is
Right.
an entertainment
We
platform
already
like
are
Facebook.
stressed in our actual life, so we don't need that extra stress from the social media platforms.
Totally.
Right. So that's what actually I've been following off late too. Because I've been a victim of that also earlier, the social media stress, you get into fights, you get into, a lot of things on social media. Now I know that social media is just, nothing when compared to, your reality or the real life. I realized it late, but then I realized.
See, I
So
use it
now
as a
I'm okay, I'm
directory.
peaceful.
It's a
So
directory
now
for me.
I'm,
If I want, if
yeah,
sorry, so it's like a directory for me. If I want to know who's into what, or do a little bit of background check before I get into a project, it's like I can see all their stuff, I can see their work,
right.
and I have an idea to, judge as well to see if it's worth for me to be a part of it. So I've kept it just simple.
Nice, nice. Nice to meet, somebody who believes in reality and real life than, the all the what do you say, the glamour of the social media. Nice to meet somebody like that.
Thank
All
you.
right. Okay, so when we're talking about women empowerment, what I wanted to ask you now is women empowerment increases the chances of domestic violence. How far do you think that is true? Because when people talk a lot about women empowerment, especially women, does that cause more of a domestic violence for them? What do you think? What is your take on
See, from what I have seen, and this is something I very much relate to it because I read this in one of a channel by a big man, like a big. I don't want to take names now. He said that every time we put a definition or a term or a tag to something, it always backfires. Not just backfires, it works the other way around. Like a simple
that?
example, when you're in a relationship, the minute you say she's my wife, he's my husband, the pressure, the responsibility, the obligation, everything becomes different. Everything is heightened.
Yes.
But if I see my partner as a partner, then definitely I have respect, I have love, and I have that unconditional support as well for this person, because this person is another human being who's equal to me. But if this person, a partner, tells me, you're my wife and you are supposed to do this, that's where the whole difference comes in, and that's where you feel, why should I do it? Aren't we equal? That leads to the other argument. So this is why I always said, don't keep saying women empowerment, women empowerment. You can do a lot of things, support each other silently, or you say, this is our culture. Our culture does not permit, women in our house to go out and work. Keep it simple, leave it at that. Don't go out and holding all these slogans saying women empowerment, and you go home and you tell the ladies in your own house to not get out of the kitchen or step out of the house. And it's not just domestic violence, it's a lot of mental pressure that everybody goes through, because now there are these special tags.
Yes.
And these special trends and slogans going out and about. You don't need to do that. My father never spoke to me about women empowerment. I never even knew about it until like about 4 years ago. But my dad told me that as you are nothing different. My dad would never allow me in the kitchen to cut or help my mom. He would say, sit with me and I want you to watch BBC with me, CNN with me, learn what's going on around in the world. So this is the environment for me. So when I see these words, for a very long time, even I never understood. I never understood what is feminism. What is this new terms going around? Why can't it just be a very simple thing? You want me on your platform, you want me to spread some message, I will come, I will talk, I'm done. You don't have to say, see, women empowerment, I'm supporting Pia's journey. No, I don't have to say the same either. So I completely agree with you on this, but like I said, it's not just domestic violence.
Yes.
It's just that it's going on into a different tangent altogether. And that's not something
Why I mentioned the domestic violence is because these days in the newspapers, the magazines, or the social media, everywhere you see the the heightened domestic violence everywhere because of this women empowerment thing, because it's a male dominated world, whether or not we accept or not, it's male dominated society. So I wanted to just bring up this particular issue and ask you about your opinion, because domestic violence is something that any woman would face at any time. You don't know. Yeah. So that's the reason I wanted to know wow, what is
and
your
it
take on
works both ways. Yeah, it's not just about men supporting women in this industry. It's also I have seen and heard and read so many women misusing and abusing men. Because we have highlighted now it's a male dominant society. Men get more benefit. The minute you highlight these things, then everybody wants to take advantage of it, stand on it, use the platform, use it for their benefit. It's only becoming that trend now. Because if someone tells me only men can do this, obviously I'm going to become aggressive now, because I also have passion.
Yes.
I also want to achieve something in my life.
Right.
So I'm going to put a man down for me to grow. Another thing that I don't like is when they say women empowerment, you always end up putting one woman down, and praise another one. How is that women empowerment? You always put one down and then you try to grow, or you put the other one up there. So it doesn't make sense to me at all, to be honest. Just respect each other, give each other a platform to grow, give them an opportunity, and that's it. Let everybody grow.
That's nice. That's actually a good way to deal with things in life. Whenever any kind of an issue comes up, the way to deal with life is just don't enlarge it, just don't blow it out of proportion. Just keep it as it is. If you want to do it, just do it. Don't just go talking about it and making it larger than life. That's right. That's actually a very good point that you have told the audience also right now, to how they can deal with issues in life. That will be very good.
Again, this is how I have dealt with it, and it has given me an immense amount of peace of mind. And whoever says, oh, you're not supporting, you're not doing this, it doesn't matter for me. I know in my heart and mind, I'm always supportive of things. So that's about it. I'm going to keep it at that. But for others, maybe they have a strong, a need to stand up for something like that. Maybe they have a history of abuses. Maybe they have a history of, dealing with such abuses. And I understand when they stand up and when they go shouting about it or talking about it, raising their voice for this, I'm with them on this. But you see a trend and then you want to go follow it. That's a big no.
Right. All right. So when we're talking about here men, women, and how they perform and all that, do you think the gender equality that people talk about next to women empowerment, they talk about gender equality? Do you think gender equality exists, or in reality, or is it just in theory and it is yet to become a reality? What do you think? In the current scenario, does gender equality exists?
From if in my opinion, yes, it does, because at least I'm blessed enough to see all, uh, uh, especially in 10 years of my work, I have seen that it exists. Maybe again, it differs from country to country, but I have been in India, and one of my first mentors, they are a couple, they're married couple, and I have seen both of them take equal opportunity and support each other. And that actually shocked me, because I never expected, sorry, but like in India, to have that kind of support, and husband and wife, supporting each other. So that was my first-hand experience. Yes, in Oman, it's a different story, because for a very, very long time, we've been talking about gender equality, and it exists here for sure. I have seen a lot of men supporting their wives, opening up parlors for them, or opening up boutiques for them, and they have like two, different career. And I've always seen that. So for me to see that in India was definitely shocking, but that changed my mindset too, that it does exist. But yes, of course, there's still a long way to go, but I wouldn't say it doesn't. It is there. It is definitely there.
It is there. All right. So, women actually in India or anywhere, they usually are subjugated to something, or they are asked to compromise. Or what barriers do you think women face while developing their careers? For example, it can be your career or anybody's career. This is actually a very generic question, not particularly I'm talking about your career. So generally, what do you think are the barriers that women face when they are in the stage of developing their career?
It's funny you asked me this, because this was something I literally had to deal with just last week. Literally, and now I think people have more time, because lockdown and all of that, they're perpetually on social media and just messaging everybody. But I'll tell you what, first thing is, it's very important, what is it that you want to do. Okay, you want to be career oriented, you're focused, just keep your mind, like, be like that horse, just focus only on that. You're gonna have distractions, you're going to have people, not just men harassing you, there are women also who do that nowadays. Okay, and there are also random people who are just waiting to criticize you, put you down. First thing is define what is it that you want to do in your life, your goal. Now that you've defined your goal, just focus only on that, and try and also understand that this is what I am, these are my strengths, these are my flaws. So tomorrow when someone criticizes you, it's not going to bother you, it's not going to be a distraction for you. It's okay, because you've already told yourself that this is who I am. So it's easy for you to move on and not pay attention to any of that stuff. So one thing I would say is, try as much as possible to just focus on your life, your goal, your purpose of life. Keep it just that much. Ignore the rest. As much as you have that mental strength to ignore the rest, you're on a good track. Like, I don't go fighting with people when they talk bad things about me. All I say is, listen, you found a wrong one. Please don't talk to me that way. I have a family and I'm happy. So maybe, you may want to approach somebody else for such things. I'm happy with my work and I don't want to be a part of your projects. So I very politely and, very diplomatically try and put that out. And that's it. Then I've blocked that person out of my life, or I've blocked that person out of, at least my presence for a while. But that's the only way you can do it, Otherwise, you're just going to keep sitting and thinking, why would they speak to me like that? Why would they harass me like that? Or what made them approach me like that? And you're just going to, get all worked up for nothing. So just ignore, let it, have a good laugh about it and move on. Seriously.
That's nice. That's nice. How you take everything, like a breeze. Probably you will have, a lot of things in your mind. But, on the outside, you take things like a breeze seriously. The way you have told me the answers, or the way you have reacted to the questions that I've asked, probably, you'll come out as a very cool person to anybody who would, talk to you.
There's no other option, otherwise I would be
Right.
sitting and crying every single day,
I
and
know.
my
I
entire
know.
energy is going to go into something else. I'd
Right.
rather focus on what I want to do. I let all these,
Right.
and whoever's talking as well, how important are they in your life? Is it your father?
Right.
Is it your mother? Is it your brother? Even then, they have no rights to say this, but even then, they're family. Here, we're talking about strangers who know nothing about you. They look at you and they think, oh, she might be this over friendly one. Let me try and flirt around a bit, or let me try and see what I can do. How does these things matter? There's some stranger who's waiting to ruin your day, and you have let him ruin it. So
Exactly.
you cannot control such things. So when you know you can't control it, don't even try controlling it. Might as well just ignore it.
Because whoever I've discussed these things with or asked these questions, they all get so serious with their answers, so emotional with their answers when they give me.
No,
You
I
have been
have
the
gone
first
through that.
person. Yeah.
I've gone through that phase. See, it's not easy as well. Look, I have been spoken about my skin color. I've been spoken about my voice. I've been spoken about, a lot of things, because everyone, when you say you're a model, they expect you to be picture perfect, okay? Even size-wise and your skin color and blue eyes. Everyone has a certain perception of a model. But what is one thing they don't understand is modeling is not just about your face. There's so much to it. I'm a normal human being. First thing is I'm a human being, and rest is all, like, today I'm a model. Say 10 years down the line, I probably would again become a financial analyst because I'm bored of this now. You know what I mean? Like, I could be playing different roles in my own life. So I'm done with that whole phase of people calling names and people saying, oh, you can't even be a model. Look at you. You won a pageant, but wait a minute, why would you do that? Like, at this age, that too, you should have done it when you were young, when you were in your 18s and 19s. I'm sorry, I decided to do this now, so what's the problem? It's not your money.
Yes, exactly.
It's not your time. I'm
it's
taking
nothing. What we decide.
Yeah, so I'm done with all of that. I'm done sitting and wondering why people say such things. Eventually, I realized they are never. See, few support you as friends. They'll always support you as friends. But the other few, whatever you do to please them, they will never be pleased. They'll always find faults. So, that's when I said, forget it. Now I'm just going to have a good laugh. Whatever you want to throw at me, I'm going to sit there, smile, and not react to anything that you have to say.
So while we're talking about that, Pia, women professionals, be it any profession, women professionals or working women or women as such, they are continuously, underrated in this society. There's a notion that women professionals are continuously underrated, more so by themselves actually. They themselves feel, down compared to, the others in the industry. So why do you think that happens? Is it because of themselves or is it because of the society? And, what is supposed to be done about that according to you?
See, it's a combo of all. One, it's the way we look at ourselves. Again, we've been told we are not physically strong. We are emotionally strong, but not physically strong. So, again, now that we have established that, obviously they expect that women cannot be a part of construction industry because they're not physically strong. They won't be able to be engineers, and they won't. This is because of the definition part of it. That statement that's already been made.
Right.
One links to another, right? And again, you and I am sure, and majority of the viewers also must have seen that nowadays men are also makeup artists, but what do they know about art? Because makeup artists are supposed to be in beauty industry, and beauty only belongs to women. No.
Right.
And nowadays everyone can do everything.
Yes.
That's the whole thing. The minute we limit ourselves, we have let everybody define our life.
Yes.
So it starts off as a combo of that. So the first thing is, of course, we ourselves. Now that we have limited ourselves, like today, if I go and say, I'm so sorry, uh, I'm only good at photo shoot, but I'll not do short films. I have limited myself. So tomorrow, if someone doesn't give me a short film, I can't complain saying, hey, you're being biased. You only give to your friends. You only give to men. No, so it all starts with us. Every problem is here with us and by us most of the time.
Right. That's actually wonderful. Here, when we're talking about this, there are a lot of stereotypes, about women, working professionals or in the corporate or any other sector for that matter. That women don't gel with women, as well as the men and women, they gel well. The women and women, they don't gel well. They get jealous or they have ego clashes, and they are not good at handling their emotions. There are a lot of stereotypes that is there in the the industry. So do you think that's true, or it is just a myth?
To certain extent, I do believe it's true. Okay, I really do.
Because I believe it too. So I wanted
No,
to
I'll
know
tell
it
you why.
from you.
Again, I'll tell you why. Because I'll give you a simple example. I'm not going to go very in general or anything. I'll give you a specific example related to my life. I went from Oman to be a part of a competition. Now, yes, of course, we are all living together, humanity, emotional, we're taking care of each other. But at the end of the day, it's a competition. I want to win.
It's a competition.
Right? Similarly, there's someone else who's come from some other country with the same mindset. Right? So only I know and she knows deep within what all pressures we have. First, we're representing a country. Secondly, I'm answerable to firstly myself and my family who sent me there. I've spent money to go there. Okay. Right. And I have all these pressures already. Plus, here I'm fighting with someone who has the same pressure too. And there can't be two winners. Right? We can't be both. I can understand her pressure because I'm going through the same thing. She can understand my pressure too. But at the end of the day, I am not going to share my stage with her.
Yes.
It's a survival of the fittest. And I'm not ashamed to say this, but unfortunately, that is what it is. Yes, you can't stoop to a dirty level to grow. Like, don't bury somebody just so you can grow. Right. But at the same time, we are all here to establish something. And at the end of the day, that's going to happen. Irrespective of how much ever I take care to not hurt her, it is going to happen unintentionally. And then the extra things are going to happen, which is, she's going to start hating me. She's going to start spreading things like I wasn't even deserving,
Yes, all that
maybe she got it. Yeah, maybe she got it because, she has a special relationship with people. Right. This is all the extra things that's going to come out at the end of the day. But to be honest, yes, I totally agree because all of us here want to do something. And we are going to do it, you know what I mean?
When I was asking you this question, I was actually expecting you would say, no or no, we are all fine. It's all a very healthy kind of an atmosphere. But I'm glad that you spoke the reality that it is true. Because I know it is true. I've experienced myself. So I know it is true. So I was actually waiting.
I'm going to do it, I am going to always think of
how all of us go through all these.
Yeah. See, that's what the simple part is. I want to make my parents proud. Okay, forget anyone else. I will put up a good fight. But yes, I will not stoop to a level of backstabbing somebody. No character assassinations over there. No dirty games. I will play it straight and smart. But I will put up a good fight. I'm not going to take a seat back saying, oh, poor thing, you. You know what? Why don't you take the promotion? I'm just going to sit there and be happy for you. No one does that. No one is ever going to do that.
Right. All right. Now, before we wind up, I want to ask you, there's this famous, as we were speaking about women empowerment that is, fancy everywhere right now. there's this Me Too movement that is fancy everywhere right now too. You know, everywhere on social media, everywhere. People don't even know what that actually means and what the person actually goes through, but they just talk about it because it is all fancy and they want to look cool and help, and they talk about Me Too movement. So when such a thing is there, yeah. So it has actually allowed women to break through this culture of silence. There's a saying that this Me Too movement has actually, given a breakthrough to the women to break the culture of silence. So, what is your take on that? Because earlier women used to just keep quiet. They don't, come out in the open if there's something that happened with them or something like that is going on in the society. Nobody were vocal about that. But now everybody is vocal about, everything as to what is happening, especially after this, this hashtag has come into existence. So what is your take on that?
See, Shireen, we're going to go back to the same thing again.
Okay.
When a lot of women, again, when I am looking at my family and my surroundings. Okay, of course, I'm not big enough to talk about other people, or I don't know their life, so I'm no one to comment on that. So let me stick
Just
to
your view.
From my grandparents, my aunt, my family, immediate family. No one knew about Me Too. No one knew about any of that. Obviously, at that point, there was nothing like Me Too. Yes. I have seen my grandmom literally throw chappals at people who have done crap to her. You know, I've seen my grandmom slap men who have misbehaved with her. She would never come back home, sit with her husband and say, cry and be like, oh, you know what, this happened with me, but this is what I did. No, finish. She solves the problem. This man did shit to me. I'm sorry I'm using this word, but this man did this to me. And she reacted. She fought back. Same with my mom. I remember in Pondicherry, we were traveling. We were in a bus, public transport. Someone tried touching my mom from behind. My mom only wears sari. Okay, he tried touching, and she turned around and slapped him. Okay, and right after that, she looked at me and she said, "Listen, no one can touch you without your permission, and no one can touch you inappropriately."
Right.
That's it. And that stuck in my head. And for me, I thought this was the best way, self-defense. You know, if someone does this to you, you turn around, you slap them, you know. But of course, I know it's not right. It's not the right way to do it. But I'm saying, I know most of them dealt with it. They didn't have to come back home crying. When this Me Too allegations and all that started, of course, it all started in the West. And then it started following, and thank God, at least not much as such, because you know, here it's like you're in jail and you're deported at the end of it. You know, no way anyone can, sort of come out of these things. But what had happened was they needed one person to cry, so everybody could use that platform and talk about it. But why do you want to talk about it? If you're talking about it for awareness purpose, there are special platforms to do that.
Right.
Okay. If you're talking about it because you want to show that I also went through this, I am sorry, 90% of men and women go through molestation, harassment, everything. So why would you wait for one person somewhere in Hollywood to wake up and say that I had to go through A, B, C, D?
Exactly my point.
You know, and then you're waiting. Oh, let her, you know, it's like school, right? It's, you know, how we used to be in school. You wait for that one student to talk and complain against the teacher. Then the whole, everybody would go and be like, yeah, proxy, you know, I'm going to be, I'm going to support her. We all stand up for you. But why? If you really wanted to stand up, you could have said the day it happened with you. You didn't say it for maybe 3 reasons. One, you were worried about your life, security. You know, I'm worried about my safety. What if this person harms me? Fine. If you've kept quiet then, please don't wake up 10 years later and talk about it.
Right.
You know? So I totally find this whole following trends and following these challenges really, really weird. And I don't connect with it at all.
Right.
And today, like I said, if something happens to me today, like I was just telling you this, something happened to me last week. I didn't go about putting it all over Facebook or
Right.
complain about it. Nothing. I dealt with it. I know how to deal with it. And when you know you can deal with things, then don't talk about equality. Here you're saying I'm equal, men and women are equal, we can do things together, we can do, we're nothing less than them. And then here you're talking about, oh, I'm so, someone said something like this with me, someone harassed me, molested me.
Yeah.
You can't be hypocritic about things. Either you're strong or you're weak. You decide that. As simple as that.
That was actually a one good point that you spoke about the Me Too movement. Like, why were you waiting all this while? If something has happened to you, why didn't you go ahead and complain, or why didn't you raise your voice the moment it happened? Why were you waiting for the others to join in? That's actually a very good thing. If it's really happened, then obviously they'll raise their voice. Probably they just want that hashtag attached to their name, so people are just coming up in open and talking about it, blaming each other about whatever has happened. And I agree actually with that point that you had told me, because I think that same way. Whenever I see news on Me Too movement, every day one of the actress or somebody, a singer or somebody else, comes up with a Me Too movement. So why were they all waiting? They keep saying it happened 5 years back or 10 years back. Why were you waiting all this time? They were actually waiting for that, fancy word to get coined, I think.
Because it's like once you light the fire, then it's easy to put anything in it, right? Because the fire is just going to go up, rise up. So another thing I want to tell you is, I remember this was during the lockdown, and everybody was following trends. Okay, this was when Black Lives Matter and All Lives Matter trend was happening, right? Yeah. And yes, it was so bad, and all of us were furious about it. Okay, and this wasn't the first time. Of course, it has happened so many times, and no step was taken. Yes, this needed to be heard loud and clear, and I participated too, because it was high time. This was so inhumane. At the same time, and I saw all the social media influencers, even in Oman, raising their voice, and it was beautifully done. Okay, and I was completely for it. Right at that time was that Kerala and elephant incident.
Right.
And I remember putting that up too, because it was so disheartening, the pregnant elephant issue. And I had forwarded to so many social media influencers saying, please, all I'm requesting is to put this on your story. Nothing more. Because a lot of people don't know what's happening in India. The minute it's out on social media, at least you feel, oh, yes, now the support's wider. Like, we Indians were supporting what was happening to George Floyd, right? So you needed that spread. And trust me, out of, say, 80% of the social media influencers we had approached to spread the word about the pregnant elephant, only 3% put it up. Only 3.
Here it was everywhere. Everywhere on the social media, there was news about that elephant, which died such a tragic death.
Again, we are not trying to come up with, say, we are not pinpointing at people. We are not saying ABC did wrong or the elephant was wrong to roam around there. This was protection. This was self-defense. None of that. All we are saying is create this awareness that animals are, they're in danger, or something has happened. It's a simple news. We are talking about a news here. That needs to be heard. So even social media influencers have decided which one needs exposure, which one needs to go on my page, and which one needs to, I'll think about it. If you're following trend, follow all of it. Or follow that really is close to your heart. I understand, but don't do this filtering of, this trend is more famous, so I'm going to do this, but this trend is okay, so I'm going to let it go.
Exactly.
Because people lose credibility in you today. People see you as an influencer, they're going to lose credibility.
Yes. Exactly.
So that's what I usually always tell people. I get worried about it because I don't want to be a bad influence on anyone. You're calling me a
You
social
have a
media
very
guru.
you have a very realistic and very practical approach towards life. Yeah, it was actually wonderful talking to you. Can just go on and on. We could just discuss about
I know we don't
life
have time.
issues, what is happening around the world. Because I like talking to people who are realistic in their approach rather than being conscious on the social media platform and talking about the world peace and how they would bring a change to the society, especially I'm sorry I'm saying this especially in this Miss World and the Miss Universe platform, the contestants, the kind of answers that they give, it's not a kind of, it's they never do that after that. It's just for the answers that they give, kind of very unrealistic answers, that they are going to do this or they're going to do that, they're going to get into social servicing and spend their life like Mother Teresa, but the next moment they become an actress in the Bollywood. So that's what they end up doing. But you
See,
have a very realistic approach to life, and I just love that.
thank you. But no, to be honest, I'm a combo of both. I live in a dream world for sure because I want to do this project, I want to travel, I want to do that, I want to do so many things. I'm always in my dream world, But yes, I want to keep this realistic approach because otherwise I won't survive for sure. And
Right, exactly.
if you're talking about changes and all that, let me at least try and be a good human being. And I know I'm not going to be
Yes,
perfect at it. Let me start
yes,
changing myself a little bit, so maybe the ones around me will feel okay. You know what? Let me also try a little, you know. Let me not, when I say I don't buy brands that are into animal cruelty, I don't wear
right.
such brands and I don't buy those brands. Maybe one or two people would think, yeah, you know what, Pia, you're right. I'm going to stop buying it. That I'd rather have that influence than putting up on my Instagram and say, hey guys, go do this, because it makes no
Right.
sense at all. So at the end of the day, this is how I like to live. This has been good for me. I have not been hurting anybody through this approach of mine. So, and I guess that in itself, like,
Perfect,
if you can't
perfect.
change,
Actually,
don't hurt anybody. That's about it.
that's actually the perfect approach towards life, and I'm sure the audience who are not hearing us or seeing us right now would agree with
You're gonna
me.
have a lot of
And that
criticism comments.
no, everybody is actually in appreciation. I just posted a few messages to you. Yeah. Deepika again said, speaking out your heart is very important. Loved all your answers, Tia ma'am.
So sweet.
There's
Thank you.
one more. True, fighting back at the time is important instead of talking about it later. It's about the Me Too that she's saying.
Sweet.
True, even men go through harassment, but no one talks about it. So people here all like agree to whatever you have actually told us right now, and this actually is not particular to your life. It is actually, if anybody can apply these kind of principles in their life to have a peaceful life, I guess. You, me, anybody who's listening to it, this is all a very practical approach towards life. It is not very personal to somebody, I guess.
No.
So anybody who's hearing us or seeing us, that's Pia for you, who's got a very realistic approach towards life, and I'm sure we could take a lesson or two from her life and the way she's told us. And if you've missed watching this episode, don't worry. This episode is gonna stream on the YouTube channel of Ink That Matters. Please go ahead and subscribe the channel so that you don't miss any episode, especially today's episode where Pia has told us how realistic approach will help for a peaceful living. And thank you so much, Pia, for having
Thank you.
joined us today. That was
And
a
I'm actually
wonderful
getting to
evening.
have a great listening skills, huh?
Thank you so much. No, if the speaker is interesting enough, then obviously I listen to it. It's not that I listen to it out of force. The way you know put forth the put forth your the things, and the way you share your experience, it was all worth listening to.
I'm glad. I'm
So
glad
thank
I
you
could.
so much.
Thank you. Thank you for
So thank
having me.
you
It
so
was
much for having once again for having accepted the invite and for having spent so much. It's been 1 hour, I guess. So having spent so much time with us, yeah, and for having shared a lot of life lessons with us, especially. So thank you so much for all of that, Pia, and hope we meet again soon. and hope we keep in touch. And thank you
Anytime.
so much. So, anything you would want to tell, to your audience who are there?
Um, See, life is very simple, guys, and I know you have heard this 1,000 times everywhere. But trust me, life is very simple. Just be grateful for what you have, and just no drama. Just stay simple, be happy, keep smiling, and just live in your dream world. Don't do anything. Don't care about any stuff.
So you heard her, audience. She's the no drama girl. That's Pia Pawani for you. Thank you so much for having joined the live show today. We'll be back with yet another interesting and very exciting episode of Roads Untraveled, Buying That Matters. Until then, see you. Bye bye, and have a great weekend.
Bye. All the best.